Question 3 is asking us to think about the structure of the whole source. It tells you that this text is from the beginning of a novel and asks you how the writer has structured it to interest you as the reader. The question is always the same. It's 8 marks, so we're looking for the same length of response as question 2, which means 3 paragraphs. We're going to use the what, how, why structure. But first, we need to consider what they want us to find. It suggests you could write about what the writer focuses your attention on at the beginning of the source, how and why the writer changes this focus as the source develops, and any other structural features. One way you could approach this is often a beginning, middle and end. Now it may be that there isn't a dramatic ending, but there often is something to comment on in the final third of the piece. So let's have a look at the story. Remember, when we examine structure, the first step is actually to look at the focus of each paragraph. So paragraph 1 establishes Alice in her setting. Paragraph 2 discusses the mountains across the seasons. That was actually our question 2 text. Paragraph 3 establishes that there is a rest of the group and that they are further down the mountain, and that's important because we actually thought that Alice was on her own. We realised that she's part of a group and she's isolating herself. Then it develops that detail in paragraph 4. We realise that they are archaeologists, that's why they're digging, because we've got references to the Stone Age village that they're looking for, medieval pots and bowls, arrowheads, and also we might pick up that the tone is actually very negative. Something to look for when you're examining structure is what the tone's like when it begins and how it progresses, any turning points. So they're archaeologists and the tone in the group dig is negative. But Alice remains alone, and paragraph 5 discusses why that is, and actually it sounds similarly negative for her because we've got that she's aching, but she knows that if she stops now she loses momentum. So we have this extra insight into how determined Alice is. Paragraph 6, we realise that Alice in fact is rather optimistic. Okay, so I put a more positive tone, and it hints at a possible discovery, which contrasts the group who haven't made any discoveries. Okay, so we've got a contrast in tone. They're negative, she's positive. Contrast in outcome. They haven't found anything. She's pretty sure she's going to find something, and the key word here is glinting. Paragraph 7. Here we realise why Alice is staying. She knows she should fetch someone, but she wants to prove herself. She wants to do something worthwhile. She doesn't want everybody involved because then it will no longer be her discovery. So we get a special insight into Alice again, but here we realise that she's selfish, insecure, in tension with the other team. Notice how it moves between Alice and the team. So you've got this alternation, so you've got team, Alice, team, Alice. That's interesting, the way the writer has alternated them. So we're looking between Alice and the team, and it's actually really highlighting the contrasts between Alice and the team. Okay, let's have a look at the final 2 paragraphs then. So number 8 signals something significant is going to happen. In the days in which come, Alice will look back to this moment. She'll remember the quality of the light that dust in her mouth, wonder how things might have been different had she made the choice to go and not stay. So that is definitely a turning point. Remember I said we need to look for turning points, but actually it's not particularly clear whether she wishes she had stopped or is glad she continued. Is there a tone of regret here? It's pretty ambiguous. It just says that she'll look back, but it certainly doesn't sound quite as optimistic as the determined Alice who's digging at something glittery. Finally, our final image is of Alice drinking the last of her water. The sun climbs higher. She carries on, and it's just the sound of scraping metal on rock, which is presumably her digging implements and the hard rock she's digging into, and the sound of the insects and the planes. So actually, it leaves us on a unresolved note because we're not sure what she finds, but it does hint that she does find something. Okay, so remember we need to make 3 points, and I suggested a beginning, a middle and an end might work. You definitely want to start with the setting. So the setting, I'm going to say in this case, isolates the character. Alice is on her own. The setting is a strange mix of inhospitable and beautiful. And remember when we looked at the setting at the beginning, we might have picked up that there's a theme of secrets and hiding. We picked up on that in question 2. And actually that's going to come back at the end because we're not sure what she's found. Always worth, once you've read the whole text and you look back at the beginning, to think about how the writer was preparing you for the ending. Okay, how is the writer preparing you? Ending, even just of this section. In the middle, I'm going to talk about the tension between Alice and the rest of the group. Remember we saw that it alternated between the team, and then Alice, and the team, and Alice. Okay, and then my ending, really, I've got to talk about that turning point. If I don't include that, there's no way I could get full marks. So I've said, the end signals a turning point has been reached, a significant moment, a shift in perspective as well, because we have been writing in the present tense, which is unusual for a story, and then it becomes Alice will look back. So it switches the future tense to the possibility of what's going to happen, but our omniscient narrator seems to know. Okay,